Welcome to Driven Repair. This is John Webb, your host with TenPoint to Complete, and very honored to have Brent Long with us today. And Brent, some years ago, I don't know how many years ago exactly, was my executive sales coach, and I think the information that we're going to talk about and he'll be able to impart today will be extremely valuable. So welcome, Brent, and great to see you.
John, so good to see you again, John. Yeah, it's been a little bit. But you were a joy. You're definitely a joy to work with.
Well, I appreciate that, and I don't know that that's completely truthful, but it was very kind of you. There was a lot to work with there, right? So when we can get into some of the different programs you have available. I was actually in a program that what did we meet weekly in kind of a similar format to this, right? It was kind of virtual for most of it. There was some live, and then I think I extended my tenure by a year because of the extra learning that was necessary.
We met together in a weekly group class with other people, that we're all working on the same thing. But then you and I got to spend some good one-on-one time together outside of class as well. So yeah, it was definitely a delight to work and you might be kind of hard on yourself, but I saw a lot of potential, a lot of good stuff. So
well, I appreciate that, and let's I did do a little refresher before we re-engaged here, and the salty sales training. Let's talk a little bit about that word salty and what that means to you and how you kind of frame your approach.
Yeah, sure. Salty sales, 2 words. They're both acronyms, right? The sales industry historically has been, I wake up in the morning and then I go do something to somebody, right? Versus with somebody. And I've been in the sales industry now for about 40 years roughly. And I just had a problem with the content that was available to me. And so I started truly looking and diving in. And the concept of salty is sales is an acronym that stands for seeking, asking, listening, excelling, and solidifying a relationship, right? And so if I wake up in the morning with a desire to bring something valuable to the marketplace that serves other people and other businesses, I best get off my butt and seek out those people, right? And then if I'm going to seek them out to serve them, I should ask really good questions. I should listen intently. I should excel in my service and my delivery, so that I have a chance at solidifying that relationship. And that's the acronym for sales, right? Well, on the salty side, one of the things that I ran into often was people were like, well, what questions should I ask? What questions should I ask, right? Salty is an acronym based solely on the questions that we ask. Straightforward, easy to understand, simple, not complicated, not manipulative, aimed at the heart, not the head, because we make commitments and decisions from the heart. Our head files and organizes the information, but our heart, out of the heart, we respond, right? So that's the S and the A of salty. The L is leading them to a known solution. So I'm asking straightforward questions aimed at the heart, leading them to a known solution in a timely fashion. If they have a problem that they're dealing with, the clock is ticking about how long that problem has lasted, okay? And then the one place that I believe salespeople and service-oriented people falter a lot is with the why. The why is, and we ask that question in such a way that it produces a yield, it produces a reaction, it produces movement in the heart of the person who received the question. So salty, straightforward, aim, leading, timely, and yielding. Sales, seek, ask, listen, excel, and solidify.
And I think that it's a good segue into what was going to be maybe a question later on in the podcast here. But your passion is evident, and I do know that that is based on some of your faith and.
Mm-hmm.
And your interest in athletics over the years. So to the extent that you want to share about how those things help you in your journey and how you help others using those things, I think would be interesting.
Yeah, thanks for asking, John, because that kind of does get into my heart a little bit. So I really, ideally, I wanted to be an athlete. I wanted to kind of make a name for myself as an athlete, and as life happens, I broke my spine, and ended up having 5 back surgeries throughout the course of about a decade and a half. But my freshman year in college, I'm actually laying, when I'm thinking I should be playing football, I'm actually laying in a hospital bed staring at a ceiling for 4.5 months as a 19-year-old who had a lot of my identity wrapped up in athletics and performance. Right. I tried to recover. I got out of bed too soon. The day that I got out of bed, I got hit by a car as a pedestrian while I was in my back brace. So surgery number 2 is coming. In the meantime, to try to recapture some of that athletic identity, I started coaching football. I started coaching high school football as an assistant coach. Fast forward a couple years, I'm healed up. I'm ready to get back on the field. In my mind, I can still play. I had no business even attempting this, but in my mind, I could still play. So I made a cold call. I literally made a cold call based on some of the stuff that I teach now. And a gentleman who happened to win a Heisman Trophy, a couple Heisman Trophies actually, he took that call. That's who I made the cold call on, right?
I know who that is, but
Yeah, we know who that is, right? Yeah, we know who that is.
Here in Ohio, we're both in the
Yeah.
Ohio area, Columbus, Ohio area here. That's
And
Archie Griffin, right?
yes, sir. By the grace of God, he put me on hold, transferred me to a department, and I said, no, that's the wrong department. Transferred me back. I said, I want to be on the field. I want to be playing. I want to be working. And so 2 weeks later, I was sitting having a face-to-face meeting with Coach Earl Bruce at Ohio State from a cold call. All right. So the reality of it is, Coach Bruce was like, well, you can't play, but you can coach, can't you? I can turn you into a coach. And so I got the opportunity to get my varsity letter in football from Ohio State without ever putting a helmet on. I became a student coach, a student manager. I worked for Coach Bruce, Coach Cooper, 2 Hall of Fame football coaches at Ohio State. And one thing that Coach Bruce taught me is you can't learn to play football reading a book. You actually have to practice. You actually have to go to the field, and you got to go through the drills to practice. And that started me down a path of preparing for business in life. I had to pay for college, so I became a salesperson. And I just kept remembering, you can't learn to sell reading a book. You actually have to, quote unquote, put the pads on, go to the field, and take your hits. And that's how this whole business launched as a sales coach for the last 33 years.
That's great, and there are a lot of books out there, right? And I think that's what kind of, and actually another, I guess, partner of mine, acquaintance of mine, friend of mine, Doug Dybert, recommended you. But I think that's initially what attracted me to the program was the amount of interactive, actual work that was being done, and so. It may be a question now of I'd be remiss if I didn't ask about AI and all these. I get really I don't know if entertain is the right word, but of course we're LinkedIn, and I see some of the experiences, the stories you put on LinkedIn about poor experiences. So I think not only are they entertaining, but they can be educational, right?
Yes.
I guess what not to do, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, again, if you think about the profession, a question that I like to ask my clients, I like to ask when I'm interviewing salespeople, what do you love about your profession? What do you hate about your profession? First question, what do you love about your profession? If you don't love something about your profession, you might want to get out of the profession. Secondly, if you don't hate something about your profession, you're not telling the truth. Right. So it's a gut check very quickly. What do you love about football? What do you hate about football? Right. It's a gut check. Well, in the world of sales, because I love my profession and I honestly love salespeople. I say this all the time. I absolutely love salespeople because somebody has to love salespeople. Right. So and I know that sounds kind of contradictory, but the reality of it is it's true from a standpoint of what does the salesperson have to deal with and how are they equipped to deal with that, and who's going to love them through the behavioral requirements in order to learn how to serve somebody very, very, very well. That cannot be just found in a book. You actually have to live that out. You actually have to practice it. You got to take your hits. You've got to apply, and you've got to be able to move very quickly relationally on a sales call if you are truly going to try to serve somebody. And so that's the mechanism that we use to develop people. And I can honestly say that I have really, really, really good friends in my life who started out as clients because they realized how he actually wants to see me win, not just in sales, but also in life. And again, like you said, my faith is a big part of that for sure.
Yeah, and that's evident, I think, and just appreciative of how that comes across. I think, and this may be a little bit of a different question, and I do try to relate it somewhat to the industry that largely TenPoint Complete serves. But there are a lot of relational aspects to the sales with long-term relationships in certain, different, whether they're management systems or financial institutions. But some of them are actually transactional, right? So we deal with, or my customers deal with people that have been in, say, a vehicle accident, which doesn't happen very often. But if you're a repair facility, you are trying to win that business. You are trying to create trust. So it's more of a transaction in some senses, in a sense like that. So do you have any, thoughts around, although conceptually we want to form relationships, but if the occurrence requires more of a transactional approach, do you have any thoughts about that?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, there's nothing inherently wrong about a transaction. And the nice thing I heard you say is you have clients at TenPoint Complete who are wanting somebody to trust them to take care of their car, right? So the idea about a transaction is how quickly can we get to trust?
Right.
And again, if we don't know how to practice building trust, then we're going to miss steps along the way. And so we ought to learn how to actually put the trust building into play and see if we can get to some form of trust in 15 seconds or 15 months. It doesn't matter. It's the same process that we go through. Low trust information can yield low trust answers that get medium trust responses that build. And so there's a trust cycle that we can teach, and I can help people literally practice building trust. Well, again, whether that's 15 seconds or 15 months, 15 days, 15 weeks, 15 conversations, doesn't matter. The cycle is what we go through. The conceptual aspect of practicing how to do that over and over and over again, then you can get good at whether it's a quick transaction or a long-term relationship.
That makes sense. And for me, in my experience, it's been having the information that people need. I think that some of the challenges revolve around not only information but more of an empathy or a way of dealing with people that shows that you truly care, right? So I think 100%. There's probably multiple ways to create trust. Maybe it works different for different personalities. Do you have any thoughts on the different? Are there different types of salespeople, or different types of ways to gain trust?
100%. And again, one of the things that we would want to do, I do a lot with my clients, is understanding as much as you can, as much as you possibly humanly can, understanding the makeup of the one you're trying to serve. Do they want a 3-page itemized bullet pointed proposal from you? And if so, do they want the price at the top of the first page or the bottom of the third page? Those are different styles completely. Those are completely different kind of buyers, right? And so is lowest price the number one thing they're going after, or is that what they've been taught to think about and talk about when they really want quality of some other sort, right? These are all things that we have to learn how to do And quite honestly, it's like a lot of other things. We learn by failing quickly and recovering so we don't make the same mistake again and over and over again, right? Again, like if I'm trying to score a touchdown and I keep getting hit by the same guy because I'm not making a move with my body, right? Well, then the reality of it is, can I not apply that same concept of being able to move through a sales call because I'm watching perceptively to how my interaction is impacting the person and how they're responding back to me?
Yeah, and actually, I had I guess, a similar conversation with someone recently about it's almost creating a profile and how quickly can you create a profile of what's going to help that person, right? I'm
100%.
probably, I'm a person that just wants details and the facts, and I don't need a lot of whatever schmoozing or
Yes.
whatever. But
Yes. Yeah. Right. And again, if somebody doesn't recognize that in you fairly quickly, they have they're now reporting to their sales manager, let's say, and it says, well, I really thought we had John. He fits the target completely, but it seems like we completely missed him. Was because they're not understanding how you go about the process of buying. So they're not moving their relational IQ with you, their relational intelligence, to understand he doesn't buy that way. He buys this way, right? And again, it's most I don't again, I love my industry. Most salespeople show up and throw up. They do not consider the one they're throwing up on. And that is which means they're no longer a true servant. They're just trying to make a buck, right? And the evidence of them not making a buck is because they keep throwing up on people.
any particular stories? I can recall a couple that you told over the years, but any quick ones where I know you've responded to attempts to solicit yourself, and you've actually tried to help these people, and usually they're not receptive to that. But any funny ones or particular ones that are
Yeah, yeah. I was thinking of one before this. We got on the call here, John. I was out raking leaves with my kids. I had 7 kids, and I had the next door neighbor was an only child. So there's me and 7 children in the front yard of a house in Westerville, Ohio. Right. This was after we had some pretty bad hailstorms and windstorms and Hurricane Ike or whatever it was came through, and I lost part of a tree in our front yard. Like part of a tree was down. We were cleaning things up, and this guy and his wife or girlfriend or partner, whatever, I don't know, come by in an old beat up pickup truck. And I knew immediately that he was going to stop and talk to me about my tree. Right. So again, here's the scenario. I'm a dad in the front yard with my 7 kids and the next door neighbor. We're cleaning up. We're working. We're having a great time. He jumps out of his pickup truck and he starts his sales call like this. Hey, bub, I want to talk to you about your tree. He called me bub, B-U-B, bub. And I said to him, did you just call me bub? Do you know that I'm probably 20 years your senior and you're going to start a sales call off by calling me bub? How about you get back in your truck, show a little respect, start your sales call over again? Completely shocked him. Now, the interesting thing is that the young lady with him said, I told you you shouldn't call him bub. True story. True story. Now, the thing is, what he doesn't realize is, one, I'm a sales coach, and I love salespeople. You're better than that. Get back in your truck and start over. I'll give you grace. Get back in your truck and start over. So he did. He actually got back in his truck, shut the door. I thought he was going to drive away. He actually opened the door very respectfully and started over. Then we had a real conversation, right? Because I want to see him get better, and I don't want him to ruin his opportunity to make sales by jumping out of a truck and saying, hey, Bob.
That's
yeah.
Funny.
It is funny, and I'm just saying, and it's so much fun for me as a coach, right, to say, hold on a minute, you just happen to be making a sales call on a coach, and I'm not going to let you start that way because I know you can get better. So, yeah.
So I know you've got different programs, and you've worked with small companies and very large companies, but anything you want to highlight here for the people that may be listening and watching?
Yeah, I would. This is what I was thinking about, John. And this is, again, this is really, it's a concept that most people don't truly grasp. I am a big proponent of your marketing language, your marketing messaging being properly aligned with sales behavior. Meaning, if all your marketing says is that we're the greatest thing since sliced bread and we're really good at what we do, then how does that translate into the behavior of a servant when they're trying to make a sales call? Because everybody is saying that, right? So the salesperson has to understand what are the real problems that we help people solve. Here's a list of benefits. Here's a list of reasons why you should do business with us. But can we also come up with a list of reasons why you shouldn't do business with us? And is my sales behavior literally mirroring the message and the language we're using on the marketing side of the company? Because if there's a disconnect there, authenticity wins the day, and people can already tell that is not an authentic organization because their marketing messaging and their sales behavior are disconnected. They're not aligned.
That's sound advice. I can't, uh, I guess, recommend you enough if anyone needs help in this area. How would people get a hold of you if that would be the case?
Well, thanks for asking. Longonlife.com, just my last name, Long, Brent Long, longonlife.com. Salty sales training. I got a book up on my shelf that I'm probably the most reluctant author you'll ever meet, but I put a book out a year ago called The Greatest Sales Question, or a year and a half ago now, called The Greatest Sales Question Ever Asked. And inside of that book is the model for practicing salty sales training and coaching. So longonlife.com is literally the easiest way to find me anywhere. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I would highly recommend that. And again, thank you. Appreciate it. It's great, great content. You can also find Driven to Repair on Spotify, Amazon, and Apple. And Brent Long, thanks so much. It's been great catching up.
John, it's so good to see you, John. I'm glad you're doing well, man.
All right.
All right.
Take care.